Greetings, and it's good to be back. It's been a couple of weeks, but it's good to be back. This is Blair, back from Tanzania, back from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Lots of great lessons there that over the course of the next several weeks, hopefully I'll be sharing some of those with you. Excuse the backdrop. I'm in quarantine. You can rest your mind as to what that's all about, but I'm in quarantine, but still operating from my house here and my bedroom actually. But I didn't want to stop the message. We had a team meeting the other day that was very revealing, and I wanted to address that. And I know that we're in the middle of a pandemic. I know that the pandemic is brutal for some, crazy for others, at the minimum confusing. But there's another pandemic, and I've talked about this before. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, who's that? Pancho, good to see you. And again, post your comments in here if you have comments about what I'm about to talk about. I'll do my best to respond to them. But the big pandemic is a pandemic of mental health. Again, it's a pandemic of mental health. And it's kind of the unspoken problem going on, but I'm here to talk to you about the untold solutions, because there are some great solutions to it if you understand a little bit about little voice mastery and the things that we talk about here. So why am I bringing this up? Well, if you've been watching the Olympics, you know that there are a lot of there are comments being made by athletes, people pulling out of competitions, people getting beat early in early rounds, which is uncharacteristic for them, and many of them complaining about the stress level and the stress and the trauma and all the stuff that goes along with it. And I'm not saying that's not true, but the difference is this: we know about those guys and we know about those athletes. Why? Because they have microphones and video cameras shoved in their face, and they're in the public eye. And so they speak out on what's going on for them, which is actually fairly therapeutic for them. Some people either love it, understand it, or hate it. I'm not going to get into all of that because that's immaterial to the topic here. But the challenge here is that those people are get the cameras in their faces and the microphones at their mouths. So they become spokespeople. But what about everybody else? What about the other 7.5 billion people on this planet that are also suffering as a result of the things that have been happening over the last year and a half, and that continue to persist, that don't seem to want to go away, that seem to be part of who we are and part of our society? So, hey, welcome from India. Karen, I'm in quarantine too. Only mental health issues are friends' responses. Thank you. So we're quarantined together in separate places. Awesome. So now, and what's the challenge with that, Karen? The challenge with that is with quarantine comes isolation. With isolation comes depression. With depression come bad decisions, crazy little voices, and those types of things. And so I want to address it because there are things you can do, things that I do, things that our team does. It doesn't eliminate the problem. But here's just some food for thought. Right now, just so you know, that the incidence of substance abuse just last year went up over 13%. Now, that's documented. These are people that have been treated, that have come into clinics, but that's up 13% year on year, okay? In terms of overdoses, records of overdose. Now, again, these are overdoses that we know about that have gone to clinics and people have been treated for overdose, up over 18% last year. Okay, so the kind of the good news is the statistics on suicides and things like that has remained fairly stable. But what's happened is people have compensated with opioids and alcohol and substance abuse and all these things. I have a friend, Josh and Lisa Lannon, who work with first responders and veterans, military veterans, police force, EMT, emergency room folks, people that face tremendous trauma and that suffer from PTSD. And as a result of the PTSD, suffer from substance abuse to self-medicate. Well, let me tell you something. Their business is booming. And that's good for their business, but it's not a good statement on what's going on around us right now. It's the untold story that will have much longer effects on who we are as individuals, as families, as teams, than the actual virus or the COVID virus itself. So I want to address it. I want to bring it out to the light. I want to put it out there. If you have any comments about it, I think feel free to talk about it. Tiffany, thanks for taking the time to address this right now. So important and more than ever. This is such a positive platform. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. And Paige, if they join a high-level sport, then they should be prepared for that and expect the pressure, shouldn't they? Okay, so again, of course they're going to be under pressure, but there's normal pressure, and then there's the pressure on top of the pressure. Okay, there's the normal pressure of being a world-class athlete. Then there's normal pressure of being a world-class athlete in a pandemic, which has its other things. So let's not make a comment to that. Let's talk about you, because they're fine. Here's the thing about those athletes. They'll be fine. They'll still get endorsements. People will judge them, love them, hate them, all that kind of stuff that's going to go on. They're fine. And they're being talked about. They're in the news every day. You're not being talked about. Our quarantine, Karen's in quarantine, my quarantine, are not being talked about, and the repercussions of those things. So the first step is to talk about it and create a platform where people can get some resolution to it. One of my staff members said that 1 out of 10 people in the United States is on opioids, which is unheard of. Now, why is that happening? It's a form of self-medication. When we're under pressure, our brains want to do a couple things. We want to fight it or run away from it or medicate it, ignore it, or we just act out and do stupid things, okay? That's pretty normal for the average human being, unchecked. So medication's an easy one. It's quick, it's easy, and it's pretty immediate. Okay, it will medicate. I mean, stories that I've heard, from police force individuals who face horrendously horrible situations of life and death, and had to deal with it, and still operate under pressure, and going home and wanting to do nothing more than take a shot of whiskey just to deaden the pain. Now that's substance abuse. And it leads to no good. So what are the things that you can do? First of all, understand number one, a lot of this isolation creates depression. Isolation creates depression. The one thing that we've learned in this pandemic is that human beings, above everything else, and there have been lots written on this, above everything else, crave one thing more than anything else. And what we crave is connection to each other. Connection to be able to communicate, to share, to laugh, to cry, to yell, to scream, to do whatever, but we crave the connection when we're alone. Think about this. Any person that you've known that's ever been depressed, first sign of depression, they kind of disappear, don't they? They go in their room, they close the door, they don't want to talk to people, they should stop showing up for things. First sign of depression. Now, I'm going to talk about depression in a second, because depression is not a bad thing if you understand what it is. And so part of this forum is to give you an idea of what it is and what to do about it. And these are things, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. However, I have worked with hundreds of thousands of people in over 40 countries around the world, and also my own little voice. This is just from my own experience, and hopefully it'll work for you as well. Okay, so let's see what else. Okay, cool. Thanks. Great to hear you're healthy and strong. I am. NLP works. That's true. Exactly. All those things work. So let me give you a couple of ideas. Number one, depression and isolation, they go together. So one of the things you can do if you know that you're locked down or you're quarantined or you know somebody else that is, reach out and talk to them. Get on the phone, talk to them, have a video call, text them. When you're bored, when you're sitting around doing nothing, if you're locked down, reach out to somebody, reach out and say, what's happening? How you doing? And get into a conversation. That little conversation could be the difference between a person's brain spiraling into, what's the use? Why am I doing this? This sucks. I need something to pass the time. Okay. So reach out. That's the simplest, most important thing you can do. Now, the other thing about depression is that depression is when our energy kind of drops, we go inward. But depression is, one of my mentors said it very well. Depression also is a signal. If you look at economic cycles, if you look at teams, if you look at business, and you look at your life, you're going to note that times when you've been depressed typically correlate with something else. And what they correlate with is what we would call end of a game. In other words, let's say pandemic, okay? Your business was doing pretty well. You're not killing it, but you're doing okay. But now everything got locked down. There's no more person-to-person meetings. You can't go talk to customers. They can't talk to you. Your services very much requires hands-on being with people, and that overnight got taken away. Okay, so that game was taken away. It's not that you ended it. It got taken away, which happens. So what happens now is that those people that are able to say, well, I'll change, I'll do this, I'll do that, that's fine. What if that doesn't work? Or what if you don't have the resourcefulness to do that? All it means is depression means, the good news is it means the end of the game. Now, what's the solution? The untold solution is when you've reached a depressing point. It could be end of a relationship game, could be end of a business game, could be a lot of things. It's time to start a new one. That's it. Start a new worthy game, something that is challenging, that's worthwhile to you and to other people around you. Okay, so start a new game. So what does that mean? Okay, so let's say you're a fitness instructor and you couldn't do fitness anymore. Now it's freeing up right now. Okay, so people are able to come back, but it's going to get locked down again, and then it'll open up again. Okay, so here's the thing. So what's the new game? Well, the new game is I'm just going to get really good at Zoom. I'm going to complement all my clients into a Zoom account. We're going to set it aside a couple times during the day, and we're going to do it online. We're going to do it together. That's what my coach did, and his business never suffered a hiccup. He had not a big base, but a well-paying base. And so his game continued. So he didn't have to go through the depressing state of what do I do? How am I going to do it? So solution to depression, excuse me, new game, start a new game, or join somebody else's game, be part of somebody else's. You don't have to be the creator all the time. Be part of something new, something that you've always wanted to learn, or maybe it's just to learn something new. I want to take the time to learn something new. You could say that, well, my business was working and now I have to do it a different way and I'm not real happy about it, but I'll do that as long as I can. Well, that's only prolonging the agony. The truth of it is, if your game ended, it probably was supposed to. Probably is the universe's way, marketplace telling you, I've been telling you that you need to change a little bit. Now's the time to do it. Okay. Technology is racing at an unprecedented rate. That's not going away. Jobs are being eaten up and chewed up and spit out. And, the healthcare has changed, transportation's changed, warehousing has changed, distribution has changed. All these things have changed. If you look at, and again, just as a little thought for you, go online and look up side hustles. Okay, this is not new information, but look up side hustles and look up information like what are the top 20 pandemic proof businesses that people are doing right now. What are people doing? They have multiple businesses. They have their main job, but then they have other businesses to supplement their income that will ultimately turn into other endeavors. Right now, for example, if you do anything that can have anything to do with delivery or online coaching, online translating, online therapy, anything that you can teach online you can command a very good income, anywhere from $50 to $100 an hour, which is not bad to work work a few hours a day. Okay. So what is the new game? What is the new game? The fastest way to fight depression. Okay. Now, on top of that, one of the things I also recommend is that one of the things I've been doing for years is a great book called Miracle Morning. I think I've talked about it on a prior stream. Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And it's about having an amazing day before 8 o'clock in the morning, which means he has a system called SAVERS. SAVERS stands for S is solitude, like a little meditation. A for affirmations. V for visualization. E for a little bit of exercise. R for reading, and S for scribing or journaling. Okay. Now I'm not going to go into those details. You can go check him out online. And I have a bunch of YouTube videos, and if you go to blairsinger.com, you'll further descriptions on how to do all that stuff. But that routine of every day, set before you do anything else, is setting aside special, what I call sacred time for you to get your head together. Okay. Okay. Solitude, meditate. I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever you have time to do. And I can't meditate. Somebody said to me, well, I can't meditate. I can't shut my brain. That's the point. That's why you meditate. If you knew how to do that, you wouldn't have to meditate. So the whole idea is, even if you can shut down that little voice for 10 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, that's of huge value. And again, we have lots of resources to show you how to do that. But to meditate, not an option anymore. Oh, I don't meditate. That's for sissies. No, it's not. It's for any person who's trying to keep their mental health together. Too many pressures, too many things going on, okay? So a little bit of solitude of meditation, doing some affirmations, a couple minutes of affirmations. You say them out loud. Close your eyes and, again, visualize some of the things that you want. Visualize your business, visualize your health, visualize your family, okay? And then get some exercise. Hopefully, I think most people are getting exercise. Anybody that's watching me for sure is getting exercise. Even with a lockdown, with COVID in the air, you can still get some exercise and keep your body and your immune system very strong. And then take some time to read something. Where? There, yeah, right there. There. Yeah, over there. See those books? To read something that's spiritually enlightening, something that lifts you up a little bit, and then do a daily gratitude exercise as a journal. At the minimum, 10 things that you're grateful for at the beginning of the day. Now, I'm going to tell you something that anybody suffering from depression, anybody suffering from mental anguish, it's going to help it. It's going to help that. I wonder whether the athletes that we read about are doing those things. They're so driven in their basic disciplines and routine, as I am, as we all are. Is mental health as much of a priority as physical prowess and athletic health? You have to ask yourself. COVID-19 has brought to the forefront for all of us the need for that to happen. That we are not just physical beings, we are also spiritual beings and emotional beings. And that needs to be taken care of and nurtured as well. And any programs that you can take that will help you deal with the little voice. You know the little voice I'm talking about, right? So again, these are some tips. Thank you. For very interesting times, require a lot of patience, love, focus. It is important to be aware of feelings that can clean the subconscious reasons for unsupportive thoughts. That's so true. And hi, Helmut from Austria. I'm glad to see you. Glad to be talking to you. Depression is fear of future unhappiness. Yeah. And so how do you overcome, Paige, future unhappiness? Is to create a new game in the present. One of my friends is one of the problems with our little voices. Part of bad mental health is we spend an inordinate amount of time worrying about the future, okay, and regretting the past, okay, not being in the present. But the beauty of Kilimanjaro is that when you're on Kilimanjaro, there is no past and there is no future. There is just one step at a time, 45 minutes to the next break on summit day. And that's really all your brain is able to handle, which is very therapeutic. So how do you bring that back to this life? Well, understanding that if most anxiety and worry and depression comes from the worry of future unhappiness, you got to ask yourself how much of that really is going to happen. And the truth of it is probably less than 25% of what you worry about is actually going to happen. Okay. That if you just took a look at it, anything you're worried about, things you did in the past are over. There's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about any of that stuff. So your best bet is to stay as present as possible. That's the reason for the daily routine, to do things that keep you very focused and very present. Writing a book, scribing, talking to people. When you're taught, think about it, just as simple as me having a conversation with you. There's really nothing else on my mind right now than talking to you into the camera right now, because my brain can only hold one thought at a time. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm present. So it eliminates the future worry and the future unhappiness. And to somebody's point hey, Michael Lee, to somebody's point about it, that they're saying is that if you really believe that future events are going to be negative, they'll probably turn out to be negative. And how will that happen? Because you'll cause them to be negative, because you'll be looking at the negative side of things. So the final point that I had on my list here is that one of the other things to be very, very careful about to maintain your mental health is to who do you hang around with? Who are the people that you talk to? Who are the people that support you? Are you around, because the people you used to hang around with may not be supportive anymore. Okay. People that are abusive, sometimes it's kind of fun to banter. You don't need that right now. I mean, unless you enjoy it, unless you enjoy the abusive banter with some of your friends, that can be fun. But right now, maybe you don't need that right now. What you need is somebody that can help you create, somebody that can help you develop your new game, somebody that can help you get back on track. Okay, those are some of my thoughts. Who else here? And it's calm. How do you avoid that noise if you're stuck at home with that noise? Mentally already down and have people who are not supportive. Okay. So that's a good question. And again, it comes back to who you surround yourself with. So my thing is I'm in quarantine here. Okay. So who do I hang around with? Well, I'm obviously not hanging around with anybody else from my household because they're off doing other things. So I'm hanging around with you. I get hang around with colleagues on the phone. I'm in constant chats and conversations with other people. And I have specific games and projects I'm working on. I just finished writing, it's gone to the editor now. My book on summit leadership, which is about Kilimanjaro and how you become a summit leader, take your team to the top, lessons at 5,900 meters. So again, by focusing on things that you want to do, focusing on things that are important to you, regardless of what other people think about it, which is probably something you should be doing anyway. But now that you're locked in with people and some of them are supportive, some of them are not, you just say, excuse me, I'm busy right now. I'm working on this project and I'll talk to you a little bit later. And, over the last 2.5 weeks, I've done a lot of that, and everybody kind of gets it and they understand it. But it keeps my energy up, keeps me moving ahead, and keeps me focused in the right direction. Okay. So Arand from India, couldn't agree with you more. Oh, and Michael Lee says, couldn't agree with you more. Surround yourself with people that will serve you well. That's right. And before COVID, that's why, you've heard me say this before. I think COVID is a blessing in many ways. Yes, it's claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, and that's a bad thing. But it's also been a good thing. I mean, if it teaches you something, if it teaches you that it's time to get on with your life, I can't help but think that if there's a God or a great spirit or whatever, that part of this virus, and by the way, viruses are nothing new. Pandemics and viruses happen about every 100 years. The Roman Empire, in the last days of the Roman Empire, I think over 18 million people died of a pandemic there. There was the bubonic plague. There was the Spanish flu. These bugs, these viruses, these viral things are not new to humanity. It's just that because we are so connected via internet and media right now that it's like it's right in your own home. And there's also almost 8 billion of us on the planet, meaning that the proximity and being able to catch it is not quite the same as when there were only 1 billion people on the planet. So again, these are things that are not new. However, if you learn the lesson, you get better. Your family stays healthy, you survive it, you get better. We all get better, and we pass on that knowledge, hopefully, to the next generation. By the way, the reason these viruses and economic collapses happen about every 90 to 100 years, because that's the maximum lifespan of a human being. So what happens is people that lived it die, and the other people forget about it, and so they make the same mistakes again. So that's why the cycle continues to persist along those lines. But if you're an enlightened leader, a great teacher and leader, you won't let that happen. You'll learn the lessons. You'll create great learning. For those of you that are trainers, you'll create great learning experiences of people that will perpetuate beyond you in your books, in your programs, in your digital products. Whatever you can do to support the advancing of other people. Beatrice, be here from the Philippines. I usually experience depression at least once in a year or two, at least 3 days of not wanting to wake up, not wanting to get up, not wanting to think or do. I just wanted to sleep forever. And I don't even know, didn't even know it was depression until I had it again in 2019. And yes, my 5 a.m. daily self-building hour helped me to overcome it. Workout, meditation, journaling, and all that. Okay. So congratulations on that, Beatrice. And the truth is, we all go through depression. I don't think there's any human being on planet Earth that doesn't go through it. And you go through it for various reasons. You periodically go through it. You're just like, I'm wiped out. I'm done. I'm sick of everything. I just want to go to sleep, turn the blanket over my head, turn it up to womb, and forget about it. Happens. And you know what? Not bad to do that. I will say this is that I was working with a coaching group this morning, actually. Person was telling me, my business is doing great, but I'm like burnout. I am like so burnout. I really don't want to do it anymore. I get bags under my eyes just thinking about it and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, okay, well, Chris, I said, look, what are you doing this weekend? He goes, I'm taking a break. I go, good for you. How long? He goes, 2 days. I go, make it 4. 4 days, unplug and close the door. The beauty of Kilimanjaro is that all the things you thought were really important below the clouds, all of a sudden don't seem nearly as important once you're up there. And what happens for me every time I go, and I summited now 10 times, okay? What happens for me every time that I come back down that mountain is that I close the door on some things that I was doing, things that don't serve me, things that I felt obligated to do, things that other people wanted me to do, things that I thought I wanted to do, but really didn't have the energy to do it. And you know what? It's a good thing. Mac Newton, who, we used to talk about goal setting and setting new goals and new resolutions. And I always tell people before we do any kind of goal setting, the first thing you're going to do is make a list of all the things not to do, things that you don't want to do anymore. So, Beatrice, I think it was your body telling you it's time for a reset. It's time for a new game, time to shut the door on all that stuff and just welcome it. Welcome the peace and and if you can fight off the negative feeling of the depression, and just go and just say to yourself, this is time for a new game. I need to change my game. I don't know what it is yet, but I need to change my game, change my friends, change what's going on, because we all have to do that. That's how nature works. Everything refreshes. A forest burns down so it can stimulate new growth. Forests that are burning all over the United States. They're long overdue to burn. It's unfortunate because of the damage, but the truth is that those forests will die unless they burn. Once they burn, then it actually regerminates new trees and new growth, and they become stronger and better. We're the same way. We're human beings. Just can't live on a high every day for the rest of your life. I mean, it'd be nice, but it just doesn't work that way. So good for you, Beatrice. Hey, Mike Odell, what's up? What's up, bro? Mike Odell just came back from Kilimanjaro. Are you good? Dude, I'm still in lockdown over here. It's good to see a familiar face. And Mike Odell and several of us made it to the top to Uhuru Peak. We unfurled an American flag up there, and in the cold and the clouds and all that stuff, with big smiles on our faces. And it was a great accomplishment. And Mike Odell is one of the people I was referring to earlier, works with my friend Josh Lannon. Just so you know, Mike Odell, the topic today was pandemic of mental health. And certainly you work at Warriors Heart and work with all those first responders and veterans, and you know firsthand that it's a pandemic of bad mental health. So we're just talking about ways of handling it. Staying positive and pushing through workouts. That's right. And if you saw Mike Odell, maybe you'll put up a picture of himself at some point. The guy is a beast. Huge, loving, ex-United States Marine, young guy, great kid, and he's a wonderful guy, and he knows how to make you feel good. He knows how to help push people to their next level, and he does it himself. So thank you for that, Michael. Yeah, stay positive, stay with positive people, and the workouts are important. The workouts are important. Remember, you are a spiritual being, but you are in a physical body. You are in a physical body. If you neglect the physical body, the universe will tell you that game of abuse is going to have to end. Otherwise, it's not going to. Otherwise, you will end in not a good way. Okay. So again, they're all lessons. And if you get it, go, okay, I got it. I need to. My immune system sucks. I'm not getting exercise. I need to do this, and start small, but keep building and make it a discipline and make it a routine. All these things will help you increase your mental health. Okay. Like I said, the challenge with Olympic athletes is my suspicion. I don't know this for sure. My suspicion is that their workouts and their physical training and disciplines are so strong that perhaps some of them neglect the mental, emotional, and spiritual workouts that we all need to do as well to be a balanced human being. You're not just physical, and your body will give out due to age, if nothing else. Okay. Code of honor. I learned from you. Train the Trainer 2018 helped me a lot too to sustain depression-free life. Thank you very much. And thank God for meeting you as my teacher. Thank you. That's very nice of you, Beatrice. Thank you for saying that. Code of honor, set of rules designed to protect you from you, designed for me to protect me from me. Okay. And again, these are the rules. Like, I'm going to do my savers every morning. I'm going to do my workout every day. I'm going to do write down my wins at the end of the day. I'm not going to talk to negative people. I'm going to, when I get depressed, I know what to do. I know how to bring myself out of it. I know it's the end of a game. It's the time to start a new one. All these things, these are all disciplines. These are all rules that I have for myself that I'm going to do on a regular basis. I'm going to do it every day. Okay. All right. So hopefully today was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you learned something. And again, I'm happy to, if you're interested, just go to my Facebook page and say, like to talk more about it, and give me some specific questions, and we'll talk about those things. But yeah, we face a pandemic that is way more sinister than the virus, in my experience. It's the virus of mental health, and of which you and I have pretty much 100% control over that if we choose to control it. If you choose to stay depressed, if you like being depressed, and if you like the sympathy, and if you like being a victim, then that's going to be a little bit more difficult for you. Then what you need a friend to kind of shake you up a little bit and shake you out of that mode and get you back on track again. And I am blessed with all of you as great friends and students, and to have friends that are willing to push me as well. Okay. So again, thank you guys for being here. Go to blairsinger.com. There's a whole bunch on the savers, and also on YouTube, by the way, a lot of information on the daily disciplines you can use to keep yourself out of the mental funk that is upon all of us. Okay. So be awesome and take care of the people that are most special to you. Okay. Be cool, you guys. Bye-bye.